shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who is fearless. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause in a world of reckless automobiles. These are my motovlogs.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Chris out on the Goldwing. And it's a beautiful morning for a ride. The current temperature right now is 69 degrees. 69 degrees out on the Honda Goldwing. Out on the DCT for an early morning ride. It's a beautiful sunrise. The sun is coming up to the east. Right now I'm headed in that direction. That's the thing I love about this Shoei helmet, is that inner drop down tinted face shield. If the sun is too bright, that gives me an extra layer of protection, because I always wear a tinted shield on the outer face shield of my helmets. So I'm just out here for an early morning ride this morning. The current temperature right now is 69 degrees. 69 degrees out on the DCT Honda Goldwing. Wearing my Goldwing jacket this morning. I need to put the liner back in my jacket. You know, we're getting into the part of the year where the weather, depending on where you live, the weather is changing. So we're going from having very hot, humid mornings and starting to cool off a little bit. So I'm wearing my Goldwing jacket. I need to actually put my liner back in. That's the thing about these jackets. You can unzip the liner, get some wind, you know, get a little bit of airflow. So what am I going to talk about today? Today I want to talk about cheap bikers. Cheap bikers. Well, what do you mean, Chris? Well, I'm glad that you asked. There are a lot of cheap bikers out on the roadway nowadays. Do you know a cheap biker?
You gonna cause a scene, man? For $5? $5? It ain't even about the money. It's the principle.
There's nothing about motorcycling that is cheap. Everything about motorcycles are expensive. So there are expenses associated with having a touring motorcycle. And we're not going to be able to cover all of the expenses here in this video, but I'll talk about just a few of the expenses. First of all, you have to buy the motorcycle, first and foremost. You know, you could spend $30,000 easily on this new style Honda Goldwing, unless you get the Goldwing that doesn't have a trunk. But if you get an all-out full wing, you're fixing to spend over 30 grand. So the motorcycle, first of all, is not cheap, first and foremost. But if you're going to invest into a touring motorcycle, then you're going to have to buy some things that comes with motorcycling. Like you're going to need a good pair of boots. And motorcycle boots are not that expensive, but for a good pair of motorcycle riding boots, just spend a couple $100. Then you're going to need a good pair of gloves. Need a good pair of gloves. You want to be able to protect your hands when you're riding your motorcycle. And keep in mind that when you do these things, that you're going to need an assortment. You're going to need an assortment of boots. You're going to need an assortment of gloves. But just starting out, for the sake of the video, we're just going to talk about only having just one pair, one set. So you're going to need a good pair of boots, you're going to need a good pair of gloves, and then you're going to need a good helmet. You know, I've seen a lot of bikers, they love to wear half helmets. Now, I like wearing half helmets myself, but the half helmet is not my primary helmet. You know, sometimes when it's really, really hot out, it's really humid, sometimes having a helmet that covers your face, man, sometimes it's hard to breathe. That's why when you watch my videos in the Caliente garage, I have an assortment of helmets that I have hanging on the shelf, depending on the occasion. I have some half helmets, full face helmets, twin face helmets, modular helmets, etc. But you're going to need to invest in a good helmet. One of my favorite helmets that I like that's not real expensive is the HJC. I recommend if you're just starting out or if you don't want to spend a lot of money, if you want a good helmet, I highly recommend going with an HJC. So you're going to need a good helmet. So you got your boots, you got your gloves, you got your helmet. One of the things that I highly recommend, and this actually falls under safety, you're going to need a helmet communicator. You're going to need a helmet communicator. Now, there are a lot of helmet communicators on the market. Now, when it comes to some bikers that are cheap, they'll go out and buy a Bluetooth headset just because it says Bluetooth headset. One of the things that I like about the PackTalk Edge is that it has mesh and it has Bluetooth. So it's a dual headset. It's a dual headset. So I highly recommend the PackTalk Edge. Now, if you don't want to spend that much on a PackTalk Edge, you can go with a PackTalk Neo, just like the Edge. Some of the features are a little bit different. It's a little bit cheaper than the Edge. Or you can just go to Cardo website and just pick out your helmet communicator. Do your research and look and see which helmet communicator that you prefer. Again, I recommend the Cardo PackTalk Edge. Now, you got your boots, you got your gloves, you got your helmet, you got your helmet communicator. You're going to need a jacket that has CE approved armor. I highly recommend getting a good riding jacket. Today I'm wearing my Honda Goldwing jacket. Sometimes you guys ask me, Chris, where did you get your jacket from? One thing about it, once you buy your things, you don't have to buy them twice. So in the past, I bought jackets and I just have, things that I don't wear that often. And every now and then I'll go to the closet and pull something out. But you're going to need a good jacket. Then you're going to need some rain gear. There are different types of rain gear. Some guys out there like to wear the frog tog. I heard good reviews about that. And I also have another set of rain gear that I keep in my trailer. And one thing about me, I have to buy two of everything. That's why I said some bikers are cheap. They complain about buying one. I have to buy two of everything. I have to buy double rain suits. And the reason I do that is because if I jump on other Goldwing, I don't want to have to take everything out of the DCT and put it into the trailer on the previous generation. Or if I ride the previous generation, I don't want to have to go and pull everything out of the previous generation and vice versa. So I really buy two of everything. That way I can just hop on the previous generation. I got everything I need in my trailer. If I jump on the DCT, I got everything I need in the trailer. So I pretty much have to buy two of everything. Battery jumpers, everything. We'll talk about that in another video. But those are some of the things that you're going to need as a motorcycle rider. Now, we haven't even gotten into motorcycle accessories. One of the biggest accessories that I've seen that most Goldwing owners are going to have to invest into is, that's the thing about the original seat from the Honda Goldwing. That original seat is not really that comfortable. I don't care what people say. Not on the newer style Honda Goldwing. Now on that previous generation, that stock seat was really comfortable. And if you go back to those earlier Goldwings that was made before 2000, man, those seats are really comfortable. But over time, they started using, I guess, material that was not as good, in my opinion. Most motorcycle owners would need a new seat. You could easily spend a couple $1,000 on a new seat. It's not required, but that's one of the accessories that you may want. Now, let's kind of talk about some of the accessories that you may need. And it's not even a want. It's really a need. You're going to need, in my opinion, you're going to need a phone holder. Now, there are a lot of bikers out there that takes their phone and in the trunk and say, hey, when I'm on my bike, I don't want to be bothered. But I would think most riders would want their phone on their handlebars. Your phone is an extension of the rider. You can tie your phone into pair it to your helmet. If you need to make a phone call, do that on your motorcycle without having to pull over. So I highly recommend a good phone holder. What phone holder do I have? I have a wireless charger by Goldwing. Wireless phone charger. If you guys missed the video of me installing the wireless phone charger, and I put them on both bikes, the new bike and the previous generation. You can click on that video link. Other item that I highly recommend for your motorcycle, and that you don't even have to be on a Goldwing, just on a motorcycle in general, especially a big Harley, or air-cooled motorcycle. You're going to need a drink holder. It gets hot out on these motorcycles, man. I'm telling you. You could get dehydrated real quick. So I highly recommend a good drink holder. On my bike, I highly recommend the Goldwing big ass cup holder. That's what I have. And it holds up to a 30-ounce Yeti cup. So when you're riding, you need to take a sip. Just reach in your cup. In this case, this is my coffee cup, 20-ounce. But I could actually run with a 30-ounce. Never have to get off the bike. So you can stay hydrated when you're riding. So that's another thing that you're going to need as a motorcycle owner. Like I said, motorcycling is not cheap. So I highly recommend the Goldwing big ass cup holder. I'm going to include a link of everything that I talked about here in this video. So be sure to check the description for pertinent information. So you got your cup holder. You got your phone mounted to the handlebars. Well, what else am I going to need? Well, I'm glad you asked. You're going to want to put a few lights on your motorcycle. And that's the thing about lights. These lights on motorcycles are not cheap. You know, you would think LEDs wouldn't cost as much. But LEDs on a motorcycle can be expensive. I highly recommend that if you ride a Goldwing, get your LEDs from Goldwing. I'll include a link. And sometimes these LEDs could cost $200, $300. And then you have to pay somebody to put them on. Unless you can do the work yourself. And that's where my videos come in. You know, I'll show you how to install these accessories. And you can save money on labor. All you have to do is buy the part. Like I said, some of these accessories could cost $200, $300, $400, depending on what you're buying. And then you got to pay some. You can pay just as much for the install as you pay for the part. So doing one accessory could easily cost you $600, $700, unless you do the work yourself. So there are a lot of accessories that you're going to want to put on your motorcycle because nobody wants a stock bike. Nobody wants to buy a motorcycle and just leave it stock. Don't put nothing on it. No cup holder, no phone mount, no LED lights or nothing. Just leave it bare bone and ride it. And that's the thing about these Honda Goldwings. Even though it's a flagship motorcycle, they don't give you everything. They just give you the bike. You got to buy the accessories. You got to buy the things that it takes to make your ride experience better. Unfortunately, motorcycling is not cheap. But buy the things that you need to make your ride experience better. Don't be cheap. Do you guys know anybody out there who's just cheap? You know, when I grew up, my dad was cheap. That's right, I said my dad was cheap. I know there's probably somebody out there watching this video thinking, oh, he was talking about me. No, just making a general statement. And I guarantee you the women that are watching this video can relate to a cheap man, but that's another story. But my dad was cheap. You know, I come from a family of 15. My dad would go to the store and buy one apple. Dad, you got a house full of children. How you going to buy one apple? You know, things like that. You know, and I know back then money was tight. But it's the mentality. Some people are just cheap. They'll make $1 holler. My dad was like that. So if the shoe fit, wear it. If the shoe fit, wear it, man. I tell you, boy, my dad was so cheap. Man, I just was thinking back on when I was a kid, and man, it was rough. But do you know any bikers that are just cheap? And once you get into traveling, there are expenses of the road, right? So you got hotels, and nowadays, COVID is behind us. But since COVID, these hotels have raised the rates. To stay in a good hotel, it'll cost you at least $200 a night. When at first you could spend $75, maybe $80. You know, you can spend $100. Nowadays, a good hotel, these same hotels are charging at least $200. $200 just for a hotel stay. And it's not like you're staying there for a full 24 hours. You know, you check in at 3, but they want you to check out by 11. That's not even a full 24 hours. Mind paying, but at least let me stay 24 hours. But hotels are not letting you do that. Sometimes you can do an early check-in. But the hotels are not cheap. So when you're traveling, if you're going to stay out for a weekend, sometimes you may want to just do a weekend getaway. Generally, when I do a weekend getaway, it costs me $1,000. If I stay 3 nights at $200, that's $600. When you add in fuel and when you add in the cost of the food, how much you're going to spend on just eating, you could easily spend $1,000 just for a weekend getaway. So motorcycling is not cheap. If you want to stay out a week, the cost goes up. Now, you can always stay in a hotel that's inexpensive. You know, you can always stay, as my son would say, the Nats Inn. Yeah, man, some of these hotels, I'm telling you, you can't even sleep good. If you guys missed the video of me talking about hotel paranoia, part 1 and part 2, check out that video. I'll include a link. Hotel paranoia, where I talked about some cheaper hotels. Motorcycling is not cheap. That's the whole point of this video. If you're going to get into riding, be prepared. You have to have a mindset that there's nothing expensive about it. You can easily buy a $30,000 motorcycle and spend $30,000 in accessories. That might be an exaggeration, but I mean, you know, when you're talking about parts and labor, I mean, the numbers can get up there. So that's what we're talking about here in this video. Bikers. Cheap bikers. Well, anyway, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I want everybody to chime in on this video. If you know a cheap biker, put their name in the... No, don't do that. Don't put their name down. We don't want to put anybody on blast. You know some cheap bikers, you can relate to this video. You know, some of you guys may know some cheap bikers, and you might want to share this video with them. Yeah, you'll be surprised how many people a lot of times after I post a video, would call me and say, Chris, man, you hit the nail right on the head. This is what I've been trying to tell the people that I ride with. The same thing, like riding in stagger formation, where you have these riders, they want to ride in a straight line. And I'll talk about the stagger formation. And I may have people to reach out and say, Chris, I'm glad you put that up, and I'm going to share this guys I ride with because that's very important. There's always a message in my video. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. If you guys have anything you would like to add to this video, be sure to put it down in the comment section below. This is your boy Chris, out on the Goldwing, on my Honda Goldwing DCT, the most technologically Honda Goldwing in the world, in my opinion. And I will, as always. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Yeah, ride around the city with a stick all black. Try with a stroke, but we with all that. Made $1 million and I can't go back. Got a lot of jewelry on me, man, you can't hold that. 12 asking better, tell him that I ain't so crack. Know your money long when your people can't afford that. I'm ballin', yeah. My mama told me that I did my calling. I keep that stick, I don't do no brawling. Open up the doors and let them all in here. Yeah, they all in here. Ooh, big dog. We come out the pound, so we big dog. Heavy paddock, don't it break my wrist off. I'm young out of rocket, about to live, dog. 3, 2, 1, I got big dog status, I'm a